Hello everyone, Mike of MMA with Friends, and I want to talk to you guys today about a match that's being made right in front of our eyes in the media, and we're being told that we don't want it. I think this is possibly some of the most strategic marketing that is used in the fight game, and it has been used very well over the years. Let's go to the timeline though to see why we're talking about what we're talking about. Israel Adesanya, of course, the new champion. Very, very impressive win over a tough Robert Whittaker, a guy who, you know, it's not lost on anyone that guy went 10 rounds with Yoel Romero. And a lot of people, of course, including myself, thought that Yoel Romero won the second fight, maybe the first fight. But Paulo Costa was said to be the guy, and then Dana comes out, what's going on here? Paulo Costa is out of the fight with an injury. Now, Israel Adesanya has went on record to say he doubts that. Actually, he says he doesn't believe it whatsoever. He says after watching Icarus, after watching some of these things, he was pretty adamant in coming out and saying that he thought Paulo Costa was dirty, which you got to have a lot of proof before you say things like that, but he's not the first to make those kind of accusations. Dana White recently came out after Yoel Romero said he wanted to fight with Israel Adesanya. Of course, Israel came out and kind of called Yoel Romero out at the same time, which for a champion to call out a guy that's that scary, and a guy that I'm not sure how much there is to gain by beating Yoel Romero. Yes, he's a big name, but Dana White makes the point that, you know, Yoel Romero has lost 3 of his last 4 fights, 2 to Yoel Romero, 1 to Paulo Costa, and I don't want to say for Yoel Romero's sake that he won all those fights. Those are very, very close fights. And I really don't think he lost all 3 of them. Not for a moment. And I judged at least 2 of those for Yoel Romero. The Costa fight, I thought Romero won, but I thought he needed to press the gas a little harder to make it a little more emphatic. I definitely thought he won the second fight against Robert Whittaker. I thought that was just an out-and-out robbery and misuse of the new guidelines under the MMA judging rules, the unified MMA judging rules that were put in place in 2016 that states a dominant round has to be scored a 10-8. And there are a lot of different descriptions as to what a 10-8 consists of, but some of those runs were almost a 10-7 if you look at the actual WBC unified MMA rules that were inducted in 2016. And I've talked about those on the show before, so I won't go greatly in depth on those, but Dana White, I don't know if he's seen this and thought, man, that's really going to sell. But of course, he comes out, and it's kind of like, I think, when you're going after the girl, you don't want to go too hard. You know, a lot of these guys, you don't want to scare them away. You don't want to shower them with flowers. You don't want to let them know that you're too interested. And that's what Dana White, I think, does with the fans a lot of times. And I think he's kind of doing it in this one, too. There was a lot of polls that were put out on Twitter. Some of them from some big accounts. So I have a hard time believing that the UFC wasn't involved somewhat, trying to put some feelers out there. But Dana White saying that this fight's not going to sell. There's no interest in seeing Yoel Romero fight Israel Adesanya after losing 3 out of 4. Actually said that he's going to have to fight again. And this is why this is so genius. I'm going to take an extra minute on this. But you have to realize Dana White was predicting what we were going to say. He was predicting what you and what I were going to say if he brings out Yoel Romero. If he just brings out Yoel Romero, strolls him out there for the championship match, we're going to say all the things that Dana White's saying now, so he's going to beat us to the punch. If he just makes this fight immediately, people are going to be like, oh yeah, like we're real excited for a guy that's lost 3 of his last 4. He took everyone's talking points away for not wanting this fight. And I think sometimes, including myself, we overlook the marketing genius that is Dana White. But we see it, I believe, in living color right here. Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. Does it sell? Do people want to see Israel Adesanya tested against, Yoel Romero, the soldier of God? Are you kidding me? Who doesn't want to see this fight? You're lying if you say you don't want to see this fight. Who else is there at middleweight right now? Also, you have Darren Till, who's won 1 fight at 185. I think he needs another one. You have Robert Whittaker, that was just dominated by Israel Adesanya. No reason that we should see that rematch right away because of the results of that, in my opinion. And Robert Whittaker, to be honest, listening to him the last couple of weeks, he doesn't want that fight right away either. He says he likes the fights, but he didn't really enjoy being champion. I find that very interesting, and he's definitely not clawing at the fence looking for a shot at Israel Adesanya anytime soon. I think him and Darren Till end up fighting. I think it's either in Liverpool or Australia, and I think it's an absolutely gigantic fight. If Darren Till gets through that, I think he gets to fight whoever the champion is at the time. But Yoel Romero, he came out fierce in the media. Says, send me the date, because him and Adesanya were going back and forth at it a little bit, and he actually accused Israel of kind of saying that he wanted to fight and then running away. Let's listen to a short audio clip of Yoel Romero, this via his Instagram.
Hey Adesanya, why you calling me out and now you run away? Why? I am Moscow and something like that. No man, fight. Take it a day. Call Dana White and say, give me the right? That's it.
So you hear that? He says, why are you waiting? Call Dana White and say, give me the effing fight. That's it. Send the date. Israel Adesanya came firing back with some brutal insults here. I mean, he's not pulling any punches. Israel Adesanya is one of the most creative trash talkers that we've seen in a long time, and he's really growing on me quickly. I also love Yoel's trash talking, though, and especially how sometimes he plays that my English isn't so good. Sometimes that becomes really funny, I think. But these were some words from Israel Adesanya. I think his skill set as a wrestler makes him dangerous. Adesanya about Romero. Also, he's got some interesting tactics. Then he goes into the barrage of insults. Stoolgate, never making weight, pulling out. He has his ways. As Eddie Guerrero says, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And you got to figure Yoel Romero, that's going to make Yoel Romero pretty pissed. And I'm not sure if that's what Israel Adesanya wants, if that's the mind game he wants with Yoel Romero, if he wants him to come in. Yoel Romero at times has, in the past started quickly. He's learned to pace himself. Does he want him to come out aggressive if they fight? But and here is Israel Adesanya recently on the Ariel Helwani show, and I'm going to stop you just for a second and say, I believe this is another moment of marketing brilliance by the UFC, because Israel Adesanya flies all the way in to ESPN, to Ariel Helwani's studio. You think he paid for that flight himself? No, the UFC is hyping their new champion, and they're putting the feelers out there for this fight, Adesanya and Yoel Romero. And let's listen to a few of the words of what Israel Adesanya has to say about Yoel Romero in this great interview.
Okay.
Found out actually before that, and we're already talking. Like, that's why I put the receipts up of me and Eugene talking.
Yeah.
And they said, like, we had the same idea. Like, even though this guy's coming off a loss.
Now, I'm going to stop for just a minute. What he's saying about the receipts, he put up some texts that were back and forth saying that were, predated, saying that he wanted Romero next, before Romero even came out in the media. So both of these guys, they want the fight. Back to Adesanya.
2 losses, 3 losses, whatever. 3 out of his last 4. You know, I'm a charitable guy. It's not about records at the end of the day. It's about beating the best guys. And everyone thinks this is the guy because he has all these big muscles. It's like Costa. They think this is the guy to do the job. This is the guy to get him out of there. So I'm like, well, let me just show you. And I'm surprised as well. A lot of the experts, they have casual brains. They don't really like they're the ones saying no, Israel doesn't have any one-shot knockout power. They're the same ones that are saying, oh, Romero's the one to take him out. They're the ones that say Kelvin's the one. They're the ones that said Brad Tavares.
Now, I believe this is a very, very interesting matchup, and I think the UFC knows it. Pretty much everybody that's involved in this knows it. Like I said, I think the UFC sent Adesanya out there. I think Dana White played us like a fiddle and making us think that we didn't want the fight, so we would want it that much more. A lot of people accused him also of, playing some tactics at UFC 244 with the whole Nate Diaz vitamins things with Jorge Masvidal. I don't think that fight really needed that. I don't know what's true and what's not on that, but what I do know right now is Dana White definitely wants that fight. He thinks it will sell, and the way he's going to sell you that fight is by convincing you that he doesn't want that fight, and he's going to make you come to his door and beg for that fight. And that's when he's going to make this huge announcement. It's going to make this roar in media because now it's been, trending on websites, been trending on Twitter. These guys are marketing geniuses nowadays with the SEOs. You're having 30, 40,000 articles mentioning 2 fighters' names before you announce a fight now. And it's just really pushing everything up to the top of the algorithms, making the UFC more and more popular. So I think we do see this fight in 2020. I think we see it soon. I think Dana White wants it. And that's my take on it. Let me know what your take on it is, though. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. I will be doing trivia tonight, every Tuesday, for the rest of the season. MMA trivia at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about this, though, guys. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.